Bonjour, President Lagarde.
Hello.
Lovely to see you. Let's begin on interest rates. The ECB's Governing Council is due to meet in just over 2 weeks. The expectation is that rates will be cut. Is that your expectation?
No predicament, no prescription, no commitment. But it is a case that if the data that we receive reinforce the confidence level that we have that we will deliver 2% inflation in the medium term, which is our objective, our mission, our duty, then there is a strong likelihood.
And of course, what everyone watching tonight with mortgages and borrowings will want to know is if there is a cut, what will the initial cut be and what's the trajectory for the rest of this year?
That I cannot tell. I cannot tell because we have to be data dependent. It's a collective decision that is taken by all members of the Governing Council together. And it's very difficult to prescribe or forecast a path after the first cut, if there is such a cut. If I was to mention 3 big areas of uncertainty which will determine the path, it's going to be uncertainties around the world in the global economy as well as in Europe. And we have elections coming up and we have a number of things going on. I would say wages as they progress. And third, profits as they absorb wages and not pass it on to the cost of consumers.
Do you think you now have inflation under control?
I'm really confident that we have inflation under control. Why is that? Because some of the factors that had a big impact are fading away. I'm thinking about the energy crisis. I'm thinking about the what we call the supply chain bottlenecks. That is gradually moving away. And the forecast that we have for next year and the year after that is really getting very, very close to target, if not at target. So I am confident that we've gone to a control phase.
When you look back, say, over the past 2 years, do you think you and the ECB managed that cost of living crisis correctly?
We didn't do a bad job. We might have started a little earlier, but overall I think we ended up with a good outcome, and I'm not sure that the outcome would have been so much better or so much different had we started 3 months earlier. I know this is the perennial complaint that some economists who are sitting on the fence and looking at us have for us, but I'm not sure that the outcome would have been that different. And our chief economist, Philip Lane, and his team have been looking into it because we want to scrutinize our action. We want to, sort of learn from mistakes that we would have made. And the result of that research shows that there would have been little difference.
Also, by raising interest rates, you suppress the economy. So last year, technically, we were in a recession in the Eurozone. Mm-hmm. Does that concern you?
I wouldn't call it a recession for the whole year, but we had stagnation. And that's an obvious outcome of the monetary policy that we had to deploy to bring inflation down. I mean, the worst thing we had was high inflation. And the one that hurts people badly, particularly the less privileged people, is inflation. So we had to do that. What surprised many is how employment remained high during that period. Typically, when you press demand down, when you reduce growth, you have unemployment going up. And there were many economists who said, you need to have more unemployment. We didn't. Employment held steady and improved. I mean, the latest quarter number that we got was employment going up by 0.3%. So I'm not suggesting that we have the best of all worlds, but it's a good equilibrium as we have it at the moment, and I hope it stays to that target of 2%, which is my polar star.
Looking at Ireland for a moment, we're very reliant in this country on a small number of multinationals for our corporate tax receipts. Is that a worry, do you think, for a country like ours?
Well, first of all, I would observe that it it's fantastic for Ireland that it can be so attractive and that so many companies find it good to conduct business and to create jobs in Ireland. Now, in any activity, whether it's private sector, public sector, you want to not have all your eggs in the same basket. So to have diversity and to make sure that you draw revenues from multiple sources is a good idea. Third point that I would make is that if you have an oversized revenue from a particular source, well, maybe that exceptional revenue should be set aside, which is something that has been done, as I understand, and that's what I call the rainy day fund that can be available just in case.
In the States, inflation hasn't come down as much or as quickly as people were expecting. Do you keep a close eye on the Fed?
I keep a close eye on all monetary policy decisions taken around the world. And obviously, the Fed plays a critical role because of the size of the US economy, because of the size of the financial market, and because it has an impact on financial conditions around the world. So yes, I do pay attention to that, but I look at what the Bank of England does, I look at what the Bank of Japan does, or the PBOC in China. I look at all of those guys.
You've been very open and spoken out in the past about your concerns about Donald Trump. There is a possibility he will become president of the United States again. Is that of concern to you?
You know, it's a matter for the American voters to decide, and I'm sure that they will make their decisions fully informed. What I know for a fact is that given the program that is being advertised during the campaign, is that it will have consequences for Europe, for which we should prepare ourselves, whether it's through tariffs or through other ways and means. We just have to get ready because we are strong. We are a big economic zone, and we shouldn't be, we shouldn't be followers. We should be leaders.
Also, there's so many things that happen outside, for instance, the war in Ukraine.
Yeah, that's what I call the uncertainty, where, whatever we do is not necessarily going to have, the direct impact or the same impact as if that uncertainty was not out there. But equally, we have to be completely concerned and aware of what is happening elsewhere. And maybe it's easier because we have to think medium term when we set our inflation target and aim our monetary policy decisions. But we have to look at what's coming at us. And you mentioned the wars, which is an immediate concern, which is having developments and impact and is causing a lot of horrible harm. But we also have to think, down the road, what will climate change, how it will affect our lives and the lives of our children and grandchildren. What can we do about it today? This is a big challenge.
Do you think that leaders and central bank leaders treat you differently because of your gender?
I would say this, Miriam. Not my colleagues. I think my colleagues respect me as much as they would respect a man having the same convictions, the same background, and all of that. But I think observers, analysts, and those who, I say, sit on the fence and watch, probably look at me with a different pair of eyes and think, oh yeah, it's a woman. Yeah, I think so. It happens to all of us, doesn't it?
Absolutely. What maybe keeps you awake at night? What do you worry about?
I worry about the selfishness of people who more and more, and that's something that I really very much regret, more and more look at their own situation, their own turf, their own area, and do not, think beyond that, and do not think long term. That worries me a lot. It's something having to do with, this is all too difficult. Let's just, stick to our knittings, my backyard, never mind the rest of the world. I don't think this is the right approach, and that worries me.
What is next for President Lagarde?
2%, 2%, 2%. Inflation down, mission accomplished. That's what I want to do. And then I'll think about life.
President Lagarde, thank you very much for speaking to us today.
Pleasure.